welcome to my FlossTube number 8. I'm Karen, and I want to welcome you to my channel. This channel is about quilting, my quilt designs, quilting tips, but it's also about stitching, and particularly cross-stitching, embroidery, FlossTube. So this is FlossTube number 8. Thank you for joining me. I know you have a lot of choices. There's so many wonderful FlossTubes out there. Thank you for joining me. Before we get into what I've been working on and some things that have come in and a few other surprises, what's happening here is we're in zone 7. We're in between Huntsville and Nashville, so really about zone 7B. And I have planted a few things in my raised bed garden. We have some little tiny carrots coming up and some sugar snap peas and also some leaf lettuce. And my husband is back from his golf trip, so he's going to be putting some photos in here for you to see. But they're just tiny, tiny little sprouts, but they're coming along and they don't mind some cooler weather, which we're going to get in the next few days. But it's sunny right now, even though it's going to be a little cool tonight, but we'll be warm pretty soon. They don't have much chance past about June, so we have to get them in at the beginning of March or even the end of February. So that's what we've been doing garden-wise, which is about it. We have some flowering trees, and it's what is called red bud winter here, which if you look up red bud winter, we have these little cold snaps, basically, but they're called winters, which really kind of coincides with that particular thing blooming. And right now the red buds are gorgeous. We have one in our yard, and it's brilliant pink, and it's chilly. So it's red bud winter, and then we'll have a warm up, and then we'll go into the next one, which might be dogwood. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. There's like 5 of them. Blackberries one, dogwood, red bud's the first. Oh, locusts, I can't remember the other ones. But anyway, that's what's happening here. And before I show you some of the things we do have, here is my calendar. I need to add in some more stickers, but there is my calendar. And I had a wonderful surprise on Sunday for any of you that watch Brenda and the Serial Starter. Brenda and Laura, love them. They are so inspiring. They are so supportive, and they are just fun to watch. And they gave me just a wonderful shout out. So I want to thank you to them. Thank you for that. That was, and check their episode. It was episode 91, I believe. So it was the one they had last week. And I forgot to say when it is. This is March 10th when I am recording this. And my husband will be helping edit it, and we'll be putting in some pictures, and hopefully we'll get it uploaded tomorrow. But let me show you what I've been working on. And I have a finally finished object, FFO, finally finished. It's my first one, I think. I've finished things. But this is a final finish. You saw this. I showed it finished, but I just picked it up this morning from the framer. I just used a big box store, our local one. Let me just come up here. There we go. So that is Blessed Be Thy Christmas Tide. And I just had a simple frame put on it with this little bit of gold accent, and I'm going to display it in my sewing room here, and then at Christmas time I will put it up probably on our mantle with a few other things. But I just love these salt box houses. I just love them, and it didn't take too long to do. I know that's not our criteria because some things do take a long time, but that one didn't take too long, about a week. I started it New Year's Eve day, and I finished it before New Year's, so it was just so relaxing to do. So that's my final finish. And what I've been working on, you saw it last time, I have been working on Humming of the Bees, and I am almost done. I am so excited. This has been such a relaxing just relaxing is the word. Stitch. I haven't wanted to work on anything else. What I have left is the mortar in the house. So here it is. And I'm just going to stand up to see, as you can see it. There it is. So just the mortar. Corn silk is the color of the mortar. So I've got that left to do. And let me show you here are the threads. They're kind of ratty right now because they've done a lot of work. So here are the threads. And if you remember, I did change a couple things because it didn't show up really well on the linen. So I used a little darker version of that color, and it turned out really well. And I did a little adaptation. This is not a reproduction sampler. This is a design, a gorgeous design by Blackbird Designs. And I did a little adaptation because as I got almost done, I realized my house was scooched over just a little bit, which scooched over the border. And I'm not taking it all out, not happening. So I made an adaptation on the border in this corner. I probably shouldn't even be showing you, right? But I'm going to. So I just tweaked that a little bit, and I might add my initials right in there over 1. I'm not sure. But basically that's what I did because I was not taking it all out. And the border is so beautiful. I thought, well, I can kind of tweak that a little bit. So that's what I've been working on, and I've got, maybe just half, a little less than half of the mortar left to do and a couple windows. And I think that will be done. So I will be working on that this week, hopefully, and get it done pretty soon. And I wanted to show you, I think I showed you last time, some of the vintage hoops that I had purchased. And I got a lot, not a lot, but a lot of just kind of all different hoops from someone at an antique mall. And this is a vintage Duchess. And I have been using this, and it just feels so nice. So that's what I've been using as far as a hoop. I'm going to put it on here and just show you. It just holds it perfectly. And I love the patina. It's lightweight. It's small. When I show you the next one, I'll show you, I am using a Q-snap, but I'll wait till I get to that and tell you why this is a little easier for me to use. I think it's because it's thinner and it's very lightweight. So anyway, that's Humming of the Bees, almost done. I will probably frame it, get it framed. Probably won't use a big box store for that. I'm not sure yet. They did a fine job. But on something that I've worked pretty much 2 months on, I might want a different frame. I'm not sure. We'll see. So Humming of the Bees, working on that. And then pretty much worked on that every day since I started it end of January. But then yesterday, because I'm going to later in this FlossTube do a little demo about I'm going to call it wrong, a fiber hider. I want to call it a tail tamer. That just sounds really bad. So when you have those little bits of fiber or the very end of your floss, and maybe you've played thread chicken, where you're stitching and stitching and you're right to the very end and it won't go under and you need something to help you, I'm going to demo a couple of those that I have in a little bit. But the reason I mention that is because I grabbed one of my whips, because I thought, well, there's not that much left and I can stitch it and leave a couple of tails so I can demo with it. So then I worked on that all day yesterday. This is by Cottage Garden Samplings, October 31st. And I have this like 7/8 done. And these are the threads. It's mostly DMC. Couple of hand dyed, but mostly DMC. And here it is. This isn't a Q-snap because it fits perfectly. So here it is. And what I have left to do is just this little bit of the pumpkin and this little bit of the bird. And bring it up a little closer so you can see. I love it. It's beautiful. Not sure how I'll finish it, but I did work on this yesterday, did all the stars, did a bunch in the pumpkin, did a little bit in the bird. I don't know why I stopped working on it, because I really was about 7/8 of the way done. So we'll use this for the demo. I'm going to keep this set aside. But that, you know, once I started working on it, I thought, oh, I'll just keep going. And then pretty soon I worked on it a good part of yesterday. So, well, of course, this isn't going to go in the bag. I'll just set this to the side. So that's what I've been working on, except I have been working on one other thing. And when I was on one of my teaching trips, quilt teaching trips, we took a group, we did this twice, took a group to Indonesia, to Bali, to different places in Indonesia. We did a cruise, and we found a lot of really wonderful fabrics. And one of the fabric marks that we went to, one of the markets, was in Jakarta. It's the largest one, I believe, in might be all of Asia, but certainly, let's see, Southeast Asia. It was massive. We stayed in just one section because it was so massive, but I found, let me show you, these fabrics are from Japan. And normally when I design fabrics or buy fabrics, I'm using tone-on-tones for my illusions, but this struck me. So it is a cotton print from Japan. So I purchased, I think I added one more, purchased those. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with them. And just like, you know, quilters are just like stitchers. We purchase things and it's like, yep, we like it and we'll be using it later. But what I have been working on are some project bags. So here's one of the project bags. I'm going to stand up so you can see it. Use the bigger print on the front, smaller print on the back, and lined it. So this one is about the right size for a 8-inch Q-snap. Well, then I wanted one a little bigger, so let me put the first one next to the next one I did. So you can see, it's just a little bit bigger. And on this one, I used the bigger print on the front, smaller print on the top, smaller print on the back, and did line it with the rose. So worked on those two, and I have enough fabric left. I'll probably do a couple more. I'm still tweaking the size. This actually worked really well. I met with some friends for breakfast the other morning, and I brought a few projects to show them what I was working on, and I could fit about 4 in there. So not with everything, but just the project and what it was. And then I'll show you one more I've worked on. This is, we picked up a lot of kind of Indonesian prints, beautiful, gorgeous prints. So what I did is I used those 2 prints to create the next project bag. And this one, instead of being, I guess, more horizontal, this one I did more vertical. So here it is, kind of fussy cut the fabric. So there's that multi-design print here, the smaller print here, and look what I did on the back. Fussy cut the bird, and then inside used some more of that fabric. So this one, it's a tiny bit bigger than I would like, so I'm still gonna tweak it. Let me put the other ones next to it so you can see it. So here's that larger vertical one, horizontal one. You can see it just, let me step back, a little bit bigger. So I'm still tweaking the size because I'm kind of going from scratch, creating them. But I have, I've got it right here. I have so much fabric from that trip. And just to show you, look at that. I'm going to start playing with it and making some project bags. Sorry for the crinkling. When you buy fabric there, they wrap it so nicely and put it in plastic so that it stays clean and fresh for your trip home. Look at this one. There we go. Oh, I love that. That looks so good on the camera, and I was thinking of putting this with it. So here's some more. I'll just quickly show you. So I'm playing with those, and when I get just the right size and everything, I may put them on my Etsy page, because right now I have my quilt patterns on the Etsy page. But I may put some project bags, and these would be very much not one of a kind, but like 4 or 5 of a kind, and that's it, because these fabrics were all from Indonesia. And I have what I have. Look at that one. Oh, that'd be pretty on the back. And one more, a couple more. So anyway, I mean, I just have piles, and this is just a small portion of some of the fabrics I've collected over the years with my travels. So working on that, and I sent one of my friends a picture of this bag when it was all finished, and he went, she said, I want that. She's coming to visit, my friend Cheryl, so she's coming to visit, so that might be something that I give her. So let me take a quick little break and get all of this that's piled off my table and get the next little group. Everything kind of moved out of the way I just showed you, and got my next group of things to show you. I actually have hot tea and espresso with me. Some espresso. So I've got a few things that have come in since I last talked to you. I know that I showed you this last time, and we looked at the original from the Attic. And I was waiting for a couple more silks to come in. So several are out of stock or just aren't made anymore. So I think I now have all of the silks either called for or something that I can swap. I still need to look for the fabric. I'm not sure. I think I might use either 46 or 56. I'm not sure yet. But there are the silks. Aren't they gorgeous? And that is M. Woods 1759. So that one, I got a couple more threads this week, silk spools. And I forgot to show you this last time. I purchased some needle minders from a new source to me. And it's Mad for Minders, needle minders. And the ones that I purchased, I was going to show you there. This is a Tudor Rose, and it's about an 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. This one is about 1 inch. This one's, let's see, about 1.5 inches. But they're very lightweight. So the ones that I purchased, got the little house on the prairie, got a coffee gnome, how appropriate for drinking espresso right now. Do you remember in my FlossTube 1, I talked about the House of the Seven Gables? So I've got that, and then Angel from a Tombstone, very New England, and then a Tudor Rose. These are a little bigger than I usually work with, but they are extremely lightweight. So I did get those, and I just remembered, I forgot to mention to you about that Q-snap and what I found using it yesterday. So here it is. So the Duchess hoop that I was using was thin, and I could hold it for a very long time without it hurting my hand. And I showed you last week, we were talking about, or last time in FlossTube 7, we were talking about how I hold it and I use both hands. Well, I still do that, but on this one, what I found is because it's thicker, and when I was holding it, pulling down and then pulling up, after a while, this joint, and some of you may experience this joint is arthritic for me. And talking to someone in the medical field, sports medicine doctor, I was actually talking to him about something else, but I mentioned this, and he said this joint is the most common to get arthritis in, the thumb joint. So I do a lot of things to loosen it up and work it, but what I found is holding, for me, holding the Q-snap really irritated it. So if I'm going to use a Q-snap, I either need to use my Elan frame so it's on my lap and I'm not holding it with this. I guess that's what I'll have to use. I did try then, instead of holding it this way, holding it up here. But that joint, which I'd pretty much gotten under control and calmed down, is really swelled up today. So I think it's from that. So I just mentioned that because I did not find that on the thinner, and I moved it over there, but the thinner Duchess hoop, I did not find that. And the Elan frame, I'll show you in another FlossTube, but that I use as well, especially with scroll rods or bigger hoops or Q-snap. So I'll show that another time. But I did want to mention, as I was holding this and saw my thumb, I thought, oh, I didn't mention that Q-snap. But these I wanted to show you, and I will put the link to madforminders.com, and I believe they have an Etsy store. So I'll put that in the description, the link for that. But I love it, and I don't know if any of you are Little House in the Big Woods fans. I read those all when I was in about 3rd and 4th grade, and this one is Little House on the Prairie. Interesting side note, when I was about 9, my great-grandmother, Daisy, was still alive. And I remember talking to her, and I told her I had read Little House on the Prairie. And she told me that she was a little girl, and they moved, oh, I'm going to get this wrong, they were moving, I think, from Illinois to Iowa or Missouri. Might have been Missouri, but anyway, Prairie. They were moving. She was a little girl in a covered wagon. So that's a very special memory that I remember my great-grandmother telling me about. And I think, look what she lived to see. She went from being a little girl in a covered wagon, and I don't think she was alive when men landed on the moon, but she certainly was when there were jet planes traveling. So what a span she saw. So let me show you a few more things that I picked up this week. There's just a few. As you know, being newer to stitching, I am slowly acquiring some Blackbird designs. So this one I picked up, Souvenirs of Summer. And I'm trying to pick these up because, as we know, things go out of print. So I'm trying to get them as I can. And look at all the beautiful designs. And many of you probably know this already or have worked on these, but I just fell in love with those. So I picked that up, Souvenirs of Summer. Also picked up, I was watching an older FlossTube. It might have been Brenda and Laura, and Bettina had stitched this, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Bettina is on Instagram. Her work is gorgeous. How she displays what she's working on. Her setup shots are beautiful. I will link that in the description too. But I picked this up, New Year Sampler. When I saw her work, or her design, it was stunning. All these little motifs. So I ordered that, and it just came in. Don't know when I'll start it, but I just look at that Santa. Look at all the beautiful motifs. Let me get really close. And it's New Year Sampler. So I did purchase that. So that was the inspiration, looking at Brenda and Laura's. I think they were with a group and they were doing show and tell. So I did purchase some linen. Well, I don't want to get in why, but anyway, we ended up with some gift certificates. Well, I'll tell you, we switched phone carriers. And as part of the whole package, they sent my husband and I each, we combined our accounts and all of that. Anyway, they sent us a gift certificate. Well, I'm not sure what he used his for, but I used mine to purchase linen. So I'll show you that. When I got the souvenirs of summer, I did, and I got that from the Fat Quarter Shop, I did purchase some vintage country mocha. I have used that before. I think I got 40 count. Yes, I got 40 count Fat Quarter. And I use that all the time. And I have some smaller pieces, but I wanted a nice bigger piece. So did get that. So those traveled together. And who knows, I might end up using this with some of those patterns. But the linen that I was looking for, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But do you remember last FlossTube, I talked about, and this is something that we got at Sampler Symposium. This is from Hands Across the Sea, and it will probably be out beginning of next year. I'm not sure when, but from what I'm told, usually if something is released at a symposium or a retreat or is an exclusive, I don't know about exclusive, but if it's released at a retreat, or a symposium usually, then about a year later it is available to everyone. So this is Sarah Milthrop. And I started this. As some of those 6 starts at my birthday. And as I showed you, here's the start. It's on creme brulee, tabby cat. Just have a little corner done there. And I just wasn't loving it on here. It was just a little too dark for me. And I saw Karen Lynch, I showed this last FlossTube, she was doing hers on a different linen. She had switched. And it was absolutely stunning. I showed her Instagram last time. The colors look like jewels. Let me just show you the colors. Here they are. Well, these are the ones that are in the border I'm working on right now. And so after seeing hers, because I was going to go ahead with this, but after seeing hers, I thought, no, I loved what it looked like on a little bit lighter linen. So the linens that I purchased, leave these silks out. The linens that I purchased this week, in the last 2 weeks they've come, were with that in mind, but they're also just good, basic linen colors. Now, I talked last FlossTube about wanting to find needle and flax. Oh, this is so nice. Thornfield. And I was able to get some directly from Needle and Flax. They had 46 count and they had a piece. I was shocked I found it. So here it is, and I've got to tell you, this linen feels amazing. So here is the 46 count Thornfield. It's a lighter version of Tabby Cat, much lighter. But I think I may use this for Sarah Milthrop. But there's also a couple other ones I found and purchased that may work as well. This is XJU Design, and these I purchased from Kitten Stitcher. This is 46 count Old Mushroom. Now I'll show you with Thornfield. The Old Mushroom is just it's lighter, but that also is a good contender. So that's one I'm thinking about. This one is XJU 40 count Milk Chocolate. And let me put the Old Mushroom next to it. So it does. It looks like a light milk chocolate. A little bit of modeling, not much. So that's one that I purchased. Then this one also is XJU. And all these I purchased at from Kitten Stitcher. This is 40 count Frappuccino. So here's milk chocolate. Here's the Frappuccino, so a little darker. So you can see what I've done. I purchased a gradation, basically, of linen. So light, medium, and dark, brownish. So I have some choices. Did 40 count and 46. And then this one is interesting to me. It's a little bit more yellow than I would have liked. But it's still gorgeous, and I'm thinking there will be projects that this would work on. This is 46 count baby sheep. And let me put the Thornfield up next to it so you can see. Here's Thornfield. You can see baby sheep, and it's looking really daffodil, and it's not that yellow. It's just a little bit. But again, all of these are absolutely gorgeous linens. So I think as far as the contenders for Sarah Milthrop, it's either going to be the Thornfield or the Old Mushroom. And let me just lay these aren't all the silks, but just so you can see. So I'll kind of lay these out and take a look at which one, but they are all just so beautiful. And that Thornfield, that's like perfect. I'll be getting some more of that in 40 count, because that's 46 count. So I know I have something else here. Hold on, is it right here? Yes, there it is. I know I had two other things that I purchased with that gift certificate. I had fun with that one because I got linen, and I would never have bought all that linen at one time. So this was a little waxer, Stacy Nash, little pumpkin. So I just love that. Purchased that. And then the other thing, this was also from Kitten Stitcher. These are some Premax, the Teflon scissors. And they fit my fingers very nicely. They have a nice motion. And I had read about these, and I thought, I'm going to get myself a pair. So I did purchase that. I think here's my ruler, 3.5 inches. Let's see. Yeah, 3.5 inches. So a nice set there. So those are the things, just looking, that I purchased. I actually purchased the needle minders before last FlossTube and forgot. So I put them on this one. And so let me check my notes. So what's next? So I'm going to finish Humming of the Bees and probably finish October 31st because there's not much left on this, and there's not much left on Humming the Bees. So those are the things that I'm going to work on this week and get done. But what about next when I finish? So I was looking at, and this was one of those birthday starts, Scarlet House Bonnie's Bittersweet, which I worked on that. I had it, started it and just worked on it one afternoon, a little bit in the evening. And I did talk about that in FlossTube 6 on all the starts. And I did start this at the bottom because I wanted to get that coverlet started. But I would say, I don't know if it's a 4th, but it's a good start. So it's not going to take too long to do. So I might do that. And I did change the thread color of the coverlet. The pattern calls for gunmetal, but look at how blue the pattern shows. And I saw this done at the attic. I showed a picture of that. And here's the gunmetal. It is a darker blue, but I switched it. I wanted a more medium blue, so I switched it to, I should have made a note. It's either Old Blue Jeans or Freedom. See, now I have a problem because I have both of those on here. And do I remember which one I used? No. So now I'm going to have to check it. That's why you need notes. So here's the two. I think it's Freedom is what I used. So switched it to that little bit different blue, so the gunmetal just looked too dark. So I'm thinking Bonnie's Bittersweet might be one that I work on. Kind of enjoying adding these little ones in here or there. So many of the things I work on are big and take a long time. So it's kind of fun to have one that doesn't take too long thrown in there. And also, I think it was at the end of the year, maybe FlossTube 5, talked about what I was going to be working on. And this one I had thought about starting. It's a Celtic band sampler. It's an older pattern. It's about from 2020. Not 2020, 2000. So this one I just fell in love with, and I thought, well, that might be kind of fun to start around St. Patrick's Day, which also our anniversary is in that week, so I might start that. I haven't decided on the linen, and it was, where have I? There's a piece of linen in here, that's right. I did pick a linen that I have to decide on. I picked 36 count Lallybrook by Fox and Rabbit. And I thought, well, that's kind of fitting because Lallybrook, Scottish, and this is a Celtic sampler. So what I did is pulled the DMC because that's what it's charted for. So here are the DMC colors, laid them out, and then converted them to hand-dyed. So here are the hand-dyed, the conversion. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to use the conversion or the DMC or a combination of both. So I might go ahead and start that next week. I'm not sure. But since I just got the linen in for Sarah Milthrop, I might go ahead and start that. So I haven't decided yet. I guess it will just depend on what's calling me and what I feel like doing. And I have one more I'm thinking about. Here it is. Going with as far as what's next. And this is one of the project bags that I did about a month ago with some William Morris fabric. So that's got the vinyl front. So what I've got here, which I started, which is appropriate for the espresso I have with me right now, it's Heartstrings Samplery Coffee Quaker. And I have got the called for flosses. Just have a start. I can't remember the linen. I have it written down. Should check my book. So just have a start, and don't you love the coffee bean needle minder? So here are the flosses. And that one is on. That is one nice thing about Book of Days. I put my starts in here, and I can tell you what that's on. Coffee Quakers on R&R 40 count Stars Hollow. So I don't know, I might go back to that. But Sarah Milthrop is really calling me, especially since I've gotten that new linen. So I don't know. But first I'm going to finish humming and finish October 31st. So let me, oh, you should see this table. I can't even see my coffee cup. I'm going to take a break and reset up the camera to show you a demo. And what I'm going to be showing you, let me grab it, they're right here. When you have a tail, especially if you're stitching and you have just a little bit of a tail left and it might even be too small for you to weave the needle under. So here I've left some little bigger tails there. But there's a tool that you can use, and I've found several of them, and I thought I'd demo with each one. And of course, this I can't read what it's. Tail end weaver. Basically, you're going to weave the tail. So I have one of them here that I found at Hobby Lobby. So I got two of them for about $6. So I have that one I'm going to demo. And then we'll switch the camera over so you can see very close up. This one you may be familiar with. This is the Star De-tailor. And then the third one I'll be demoing is the Fiber Hider. And I purchased this when I was at the Attic. And it's two-part. Just like that. So we'll look at them and we'll switch the camera around so you can see close up. So we'll do that, and let me switch it around and I'll be right back. Let's take a look at these three tools that all will help you wrangle the end of your thread. So we've got this one from Hobby Lobby, and it's called a tail end weaver. Then we have the Star De-tailor, and then we have the Fiber Hider. Each one does the same job, but each one's a little bit different. So we'll start with the one that I purchased from Hobby Lobby. You got two of them in a package. So here I have my tail that, you can see it's right here. And what I found on the Q-snap is I'm going to loosen it so I have some play. And I already took this. You can see it's a wire. And I'm going to put it near the tail. Now, I want to get that underneath. And so what I do is take my needle, bring it through. Did I get it? No, I did not. There, now I've got it through. Now I can pull it through. And it's especially helpful if you've got one tail that's very small. These are longer. Let's go back the other way. Let's go back the other way with the Star De-tailor. And that one has, let me show you the difference on the wires. There we go. Let's do there. See, they're very similar. I think the Star De-tailor might be a little finer. All right. Now, yes, it is finer. So I can go here. Now, I found with this one, it's a little harder to get the tail in there. Maybe it's just the wire. Or maybe it's because it's not open as much. There we go. I just open it up a little bit. There. Ooh, that was rough. There we go. So there's the star detailer. And let's get that out of the way and use this one. So the third one that I have, this is like a work of art. It's 2 pieces. It's the little grabber, so you don't have to use your needle. And then there's the very fine wire. So let's give that a go and see. Let's just... that needs to go out of the way, but we'll pretend it's not there. Okay, so now there's my wire. This is kind of fun. You take that grabber, pull it through. And then, of course, I'd go back the other way. But that little grabber is kind of nice. Because it's attached. It's hard to hold this and get it. Come on, you worked nicer the other. There we go. So this one is, I think of the 3, as you could see, this one worked very nicely. And this one I had a little easier time. I don't know why that's got twisted. It wasn't twisted before. I wonder if I twisted it when I was doing something. But the star detailer also is very nice. So you've got 3 choices that will help you weave these ends in. And especially if you just have, you know, these are nice and long. I could use my needle. But what if you had just a tiny little, here's a good example. It's kind of a mess right there. So I would want to weave those little ends in, and using that, one of the tools will really help with that. So I hope that little product review has helped you. They all do a similar job. They're just different. And I wanted to show you that little review. So now we'll come back to me, and I'll talk for just a minute about the quilt behind me. I hope you enjoyed that little product review, and as you can see, we're in my sewing room today, and I have set up an antique quilt behind me, and this is one that I purchased at a show, it's got to be over 20 years ago, and I purchased it because I just love this quilt. It's a churn dash. And it's created with fabrics, and to me it looks like they're around the turn of the century, maybe 1890s, 1900s. And what's fun about it is you'll notice that the points don't necessarily match, and that the fabrics aren't all the same, and the background isn't all the same, and yet it's charming. It's all hand-pieced. And I just love it, so I thought that you would enjoy seeing it. We've added some photos in here so you can see it up close, slowly scanning over the different blocks so you can see them. But that's an antique churn dash quilt, all hand-pieced. And I didn't have a year that it was made, but I'm guessing from the fabrics, maybe around the turn of the century. Could be a little later, could be, you know, they had the fabrics in a scrap bag. But I thought you would enjoy seeing that. So I want to thank you for joining me today for FlossTube number 8. I'll be back in a couple of weeks with another FlossTube. And I will be also adding in a quilt talk sometime in the next week, which will be about my one of my quilt designs. So just for fun, as we are finishing up here, I'm going to add in a picture, and I'm making a note here. I'm going to add in a picture of what my sewing room looks like, all torn to pieces for the creation of this FlossTube. and then a picture of what it normally looks like. So I thought that you would enjoy. I'm just going to make a note so I don't forget. So when my husband edits this and I'm sending pictures to him, we have those in there. But again, thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I always look forward to reading your comments. Please comment on anything that you enjoyed on the video, some things maybe that you're curious about. Enjoy reading your comments and always thank you for that. So until next time, happy stitching. Be well.